Hi, I'm Vance, and welcome to Repair and Replace. If the light in your refrigerator isn't working, then it could be one of several problems. It might be an issue with the light, the socket, or the door switch. In some models, it could also be an issue with the control board. In this episode, first we'll learn how it all works. Then we'll test each component with a multimeter. This applies to most top freezer refrigerators, as well as some side-by-side and bottom freezer models. There's a lot of variation in how refrigerators are wired, but all light circuits have a light and a switch. A lot of models will use an incandescent light bulb, which screws into the light socket. This is connected directly to the door switch. Other models might use LED lights. In models that use a control board, the door switch controls the light but also monitors the state of the door. These models might have a door alarm or show an error code if the switch fails. In any case, a faulty light, socket, or door switch will prevent the light from working. To begin, you might need a screwdriver or nut driver and a multimeter. Keep in mind there is some variation between models, and not all refrigerators will have the same parts. You can enter your model number on the AMRE Supply website to see a parts breakdown. This can be helpful to show you which parts are in your refrigerator and where they are located. First, it's best to test the light bulb. In many refrigerators, this is easily accessed and can be unscrewed from inside the fridge. If the light bulb uses the standard E26 base, then you can test the bulb by putting it into another fixture. Other models might use the E11 intermediate screw base, which is less common in household fixtures. If you have an incandescent bulb, then you can always test it with a multimeter. A continuity test will determine if there is a continuous path for electricity to flow through. Without continuity, the light will not work. Set your multimeter to the ohms or resistance setting. Now touch one probe to the bottom and the other probe to the threads. There should be continuity. If there is no resistance and no continuity, then replace the light bulb. Keep in mind, LED bulbs cannot be tested in the same way. In this case, it's best to just replace the bulbs. First, slide the refrigerator out from the wall. When there is enough room, unplug the cord to disconnect the power. In this case, you can work on the refrigerator in place with it still against the wall. In some models, both the door switch and the light are in the control module, which is normally at the top of the fridge compartment. Remove the screws and lower the module. Be careful when removing it, as it's easy to damage the plastic tabs. In some cases, you can disconnect the wires and remove the whole control module. In other models, the light is mounted on the side of the cabinet. In this case, you'll have to remove the cover and release the plastic mount. Now disconnect the wires and remove the light. You can test the switch in place, but to make it easier, we'll be removing it from the mount. The door switch might also be located on the side of the cabinet. You can use a flat blade screwdriver to pry the switch up. If the switch has more than 2 wires, then take a picture for reference. Now disconnect the wires and remove the switch. To test the light socket and bulb together, you'll need a working incandescent light bulb. Set your multimeter to the ohms or resistance setting. Now touch the probes to each terminal. If there is no resistance and no continuity, then replace the light socket. If you have an LED bulb, then you can still do an isolated test of the socket. Test between each terminal and the corresponding contact. If it fails the continuity test, then replace the socket. In some models, the LED light will be a self-contained unit without a socket. These cannot be tested and will have to be replaced as one piece. If there's only 2 terminals on the door switch, then it's easy to test. Set the multimeter to the ohms or resistance setting. Now touch the probes to each terminal. There should be continuity with a resistance between 0 and 1 ohm. Pressing and releasing the switch should connect and disconnect the circuit. If there is no continuity at all, then the switch is faulty and should be replaced. If there's 3 terminals, then you'll have to do several tests. The terminals will be labeled COM for common, NO for normally open, and NC for normally closed. A normally closed terminal will form a complete circuit at rest. It will stay energized until the switch is pressed and the circuit is opened. A normally open terminal is not energized at rest and will only complete the circuit when the switch is pressed closed. First, test from the common to the normally closed terminal. There should be continuity. When you press the switch, there should be no continuity and no reading on the multimeter. Now test between the common and the normally open terminal. There should be no continuity. When you press the switch, the contacts will close and the switch will now have continuity. If it fails any of these tests, then the switch is faulty and should be replaced. In some models, the lights are wired in series. This means if one light fails, all of the lights will turn off as well. The easiest way to narrow this down is to buy a new light and install it in one of the sockets. Then see if all the lights work. If it doesn't work, then reinstall the old light. Next, install the new light in the next spot. Keep trying the new light in each spot until all the lights turn on. Align the light socket and snap it into place. Now reconnect the wires. Push the switch until it snaps into place. Now reconnect the wires. If your model has a control module, then reconnect the wires. Now tighten the mounting screws and secure it into place. If your light socket was installed on the cabinet, then reconnect the wires. Align the light socket and snap it into place. Now replace the cover. If the light switch is installed on the cabinet, the steps are simple. Reconnect the wires, Now push the switch until it snaps into place. Plug in the cord to reconnect the power. Now slide it back into place. Make sure to leave a couple of inches of space between the refrigerator and the wall. This will allow for proper airflow. Now test the refrigerator to see if it's working properly. If you like this and want to see more tutorials and informational videos, then subscribe to our channel. And if you need help, you can call or visit an AMRE location to talk with our knowledgeable staff. Thanks for watching.